Thank you very much. My name is Paul McGavin, and I met you, Mayor Corsi, on October 14th, 2017, the same day that Governor Brown and Senators Feinstein and Harris came to Santa Rosa to really rally around this community to try to get us on the right path for recovery. And I was able to speak to Governor Brown for about 10 minutes that day, and he listened very intently, and this was 24 hours before he vetoed SB 649. This is what he and I talked about. We discussed that wireline, not wireless communications technology, performed better in this fire disaster, and that one big dig for California, that is undergrounding fiber optic, coaxial, and copper lines in this rebuild, would make the public utility asset more defensible from attack, from future disasters, or terrorism, because it's safely buried under the ground. The fire goes over it. Those things survive. And it's those things that actually survive and allow for emergency alerts. Finally, I mentioned a bill on his desk, SB 649, Wireless Tools of Commerce, would present a new potent fire hazard to every community in California because this 35 cubic foot ancillary cabinet contains lithium-ion batteries. Have you ever seen a Tesla burn on YouTube? It burns for 4 hours because it's full of lithium-ion batteries. What you're putting on the sidewalk is a fire hazard that if you have any car run over it, knock it over, there's some gasoline there, boom, you got a 4-hour fire. None of this should be above ground. All of it should be undergrounded. And Verizon can afford to do that. You know, they make more money than God. You know this, right? So what happens is these things become bombs on the sidewalk during a fire. They'll come through, heat up that lithium-ion battery, and boom! That's what you're creating in all of our communities by putting these on the sidewalk. I hung around. I was able to get 3 questions to the crowd, and it ended with applause. The first question was, if you need reliable notification for emergency disasters, because we do have 60 dead and missing in this fire, why can't we all retain our landlines that are copper? And they're the ones that work in a power outage because the wireless Nixle alerts and all the other wireless means of communication instantly go down as soon as the fire arrives. These copper landlines work on remote power. Doesn't depend on the power in your neighborhood. It comes from far away. And those people got reverse 911 calls and they got out. The city of Santa Rosa needs to know what is the matrix between which alerts got out and who lived. That's going to be a very interesting analysis. I had a question for Kamala Harris. Will you help us to report AT&T for price gouging on these landline services that prevents people from keeping this very important emergency service? This is my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Deborah Tavares. She'll be followed by Dwayne DeWitt. Wait for the microphone. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. Deborah Tavares. I have noticed when traveling to the burn sites that the people that are working the burn sites are not appropriately in safety clad that they need to be. They don't have any kind of breathing apparatuses. I've also, too, noticed the over-excavation by the Army Corps of Engineers and FEMA and all of those that are over-excavating, creating mosquito ponds, and we've attended the Marin Sonoma Vector Control, and they're horrified with the mosquito situation coming up on us. It's already warm, and they've noticed excess mosquito larvae. To that end, they're very, very concerned about the Zika virus. And I've noticed also in the paper, front page on Saturday's paper about benzene in the soil and in the water. And I can say that other properties in the Stagecoach area have had their water and their soil independently tested, and it is so toxic they're getting bloody noses and spitting up blood. We are now going to be rebuilding in a toxic waste dump called Santa Rosa Burn Areas. And also in attending some of the insurance meetings, I can assure you that those homes that were left standing adjacent to the burn areas, those people are completely unaware of the toxic foam materials in their homes that they're being allowed to move back into. Those homes at least should have all of the insulation pulled out of their walls, and their roofs, have floor underlayment pulled, because in attending these meetings and listening to fire survivors from other states talk about the inappropriate levels of insurance to verify that these homes are returned to people in non-toxic conditions, this is not the case. These people are being returned to toxic waste dumps. The soil is very toxic, the homes are very toxic, and those people that are managing to survive in the few homes on Fountain Grave that are still there are being poisoned by benzene as we speak right now. The water, the bottled water that you're giving them is not going to save their lives in the long run. The vapor from their showers is going to kill them with cancer. And you sit idly by and watch these trucks cart off these toxins to our local landfills and repurpose the concrete in our rock quarries. What on earth are you thinking? This area is going to be a Superfund toxic waste dump. That is what you are creating here in what I call home. And I am horrified. I am seeing people now really looking seriously at not rebuilding, not returning to the areas that are not safe. It is poisonous for them. And this rebuild is a joke. It is a joke. Thank you.
I talked to a lot of firefighters that were from out of town when all this happened a month or so ago. And I asked, after getting a little friends with them, I asked them, I said, is it true that you've been ordered not to speak about what you were told and what you witnessed? And they, as a matter of fact, told me yes, they were told to not speak. Ronald Reagan came up with something called Star Wars a long time ago, where there was going to be satellites that would knock down incoming bombs. Well, it didn't make any sense, and everybody would die if that worked anyways. What we did experience was these Star Wars lasers from satellites and other sources come down and burn and destroy these properties. Friends of mine that I know very well had witnessed their own homes being targeted and destroyed by these lasers. PG&E and the story about their wires is like the most ridiculous thing there is. But since the PG&E lawyers are helping to pull their company down, go ahead and make your money by blaming them, knowing that they had nothing to do with it.